welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got something very cool for you today. It's called House Parity, although the I of parity is in brackets, so it could be House Party. It's by AnalyticalNinja. This has been recommended to us a lot recently because it's seriously unusual. It's one of these puzzles where you can solve each 3x3 box as its own separate puzzle, and then at the end you sort of put together everything you found and you solve then the whole Sudoku. So it's 10 puzzles in one, basically. And we have seen this once or twice before, and these are always fascinating. I've no idea really how you go about setting something like this. But the other interesting thing about this puzzle is it's 2 stars out of 5 for difficulty. It features the Parity Party constraint, it's a constraint I am not very good at. So there may be some rickets on the road to solving this one. Yeah, but 2 stars out of 5. It shouldn't be too bad in theory, and I'll read you the rules in a moment or two's time. It's got a whopping high rating on Logic Masters Germany, as you might expect. What else can I tell you about today? It's my brother's birthday. I'll share that with you for a start. When on my brother's birthday, we always share playlists with each other, so I've just been enjoying making him his playlist for his birthday. His birthday this year. If any of you want to see it, I could share it. I don't know. Can you share Spotify playlists with people? I'm not sure. I obviously can share it with my brother. I'm not sure if you can just make it so you can see them. But anyway, some of you may be interested in our unusual music tastes. Anyway, I've been enjoying doing that. I've been enjoying reading the poetry. I've been putting together the poetry reading for our book. The book is scheduled to arrive before Christmas, which is jolly exciting. Thanks so much to all of you who supported it on the Kickstarter. If you want to grab a copy, there is a really small window. You probably have to tell us today. And what else is going on? We've got Line Sudoku, our brand new app, out. And we have got the Trick or Treat Skunkworks Sudoku Hunt, which we have got hundreds and hundreds of correct entries to. So very well done. It's going to be a hard-won competition this month, and you've still got until the 20th of October if you want to have a go and enter it. And the feedback so far is that these puzzles are all approachable, so you'd have a great chance of finishing it. If you've never managed to finish one of our Sudoku hunts on Patreon, you would have a chance of doing this one. So check it out. Now I've got some birthdays to do, of course. I'm going to start with Caleb. It's your birthday today, and I know this because your partner Alex wrote to us. I think you're over in Indiana. We get quite a few viewers from Indiana. There must be a lot of clever folk in Indiana. But Caleb, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant birthday. And then it's Geraldine, I think. Geraldine has turned 70. Big 7-0. Over there in Seattle. I think Geraldine is a Canadian living in the US, and somehow has arranged it so that the chocolate cake that she's having today, she won't have to share. Well, that's exactly the best form of chocolate cake, as Maverick flies past. So Geraldine, happy birthday. Mikey, you turned 28 today, and I know this because your boyfriend Daniel wrote to us. And apparently Mikey has appropriated Bobbin's face as his favourite form of swearing. And also I know Mikey, where your birthday cake is coming from. It's a bakery called the Milk Bar in New York City. Now, when you tell me things like that, you know I'm going to go and look it up and see what the cakes look like, and they looked amazing. So, Mikey, I'm quite jealous. Enjoy that. And then finally, Andy Andy's got a bakery story as well. Andy's turned 23 over in Michigan. And Andy was born with over 20 food allergies, apparently, and only relatively recently discovered a special bakery that could make cakes that Andy could actually eat. I think before then, Andy had to make the cakes. Andy and his family made the cakes themselves. So Andy is having his second ever cake that's been made by someone other than his folks today, and it's a triple chocolate cake. Well, Andy, enjoy that. It sounds like that is very well earned, and I hope you have a brilliant birthday, of course. And that's all the news. So let's have a look at House Parity by AnalyticalNinja. The rules are as follows. Right, clues outside the grid are Parity Party clues and give the sum of the digits up to and including the first even digit, or up to and including the first odd digit from that side. Single digit clues might give the first digit only. But thank goodness there is an example, because I have done Parity Party before, but I can never remember quite what it means. So it says, i.e., a 7 clue. Have we got? Oh, we have got a 7 clue. So this 7 clue could mean the first cell seen contains a 7. Boom. So that would be a legitimate way of this clue existing. I presume then that would have to be an even. No, that would not be an even number. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So I think literally that 7 could just be signalling a 7, and then that clue's done, and we could forget about it. Then the first 2 cells contain an even and an odd number that sum to 7. So imagine this was a 3-4 pair. 3 there, 4 there. You can see that going along here we've got an odd digit, but the clue is cluing up to and including the first even digit. It's just we don't know that before we discover this is a 3-4 pair which add to 7. So this is another way this 7 clue could work. Or the first 2 cells have a 2-4 pair in them, and the third cell contains a 1. So here the way it works is the 7 clue is summing to the first odd digit in the row from this side. These 2 are even, so these 2 get summed. We add the first odd digit in, that's a 1, and these 3 would add to 7. So it is quite a strange rule set. I don't think there's any getting away from that. I find it quite difficult to feel intuitive about, but that is how it works. Now, digits within cages cannot repeat and sum to the small numbers shown. Okay, so those 3 add up to 14. It looks like, yeah, all of the cages are all in their boxes today. So there's no requirement that digits can't repeat within cages, because they simply can't because of the rules of Sudoku. Now, what else? In fact, I've just noticed, oh, maybe it doesn't say normal Sudoku rules apply, because normal Sudoku rules don't apply. Hang on. Right, so it then says, this puzzle is solved in 2 stages. Stage 1. Each 3x3 box is solved independently as a 3x3 mean mini, i.e. each box uses exactly 3 digits from 1 to 9 without repeating in rows or columns of that box. So we have to solve these boxes individually. Like, that is literally its own puzzle. So we've got to find 3 digits, only 3 digits, and fill that box such that the clues work, basically. And then we would do the same for this box, the same for this box, etc., etc. Outside clues are for the first box seen in this stage, i.e. they work for the box next to the clue. So if we were looking at this, if we were trying to solve this box, that 16 clue would work somehow for within this box. It's 16, so it couldn't be a 1-cell clue. It could be. In fact, I'm going to be solving it if I think about this too hard, aren't I? I'm just thinking it probably has to be a 3-cell clue, but I'm not certain about that. Now, what else? So we do all that. We solve each of these boxes as mean minis, and then stage 2, delete all the digits except for the central cell of each 3x3 box, and then solve the puzzle as a regular 9x9 Sudoku using the remaining digits as givens. So we're going to have a given digit in these cells at this point, hopefully. Outside clues can now see further than just the first box seen. So if we go back to this 16 clue, if we were solving this mean mini, the 16 would have to work within this box. But once we're doing the whole puzzle, and I don't know if this is possible, I'm not doing the maths on it, but maybe this 16 clue could I think it could actually, couldn't it? Because if these were say, if they were 1, 3 and 5, no, that's not going to work. Hang on. I need to do this somehow so that this is the change of parity. Oh, bobbins, I can't do it. Let's try a bigger number. Let's try a 22. So could we do a 22? So for this one, we'd be saying the 22 applies for those three maybe. And then once we were doing the whole puzzle, can the 22 go further then? We'd then have to have 4 odd numbers, I think. Maybe 1, 3, 5, 7 or something like that. Whoopsie. So if they were 1, 3, 5, 7, that would be 16. And then that was a 6. That could be how that clue could work. Possibly. 1, 3, 5, 7. 12, 16, 22. Yeah, I think that works. And then the 22 is summing to the first even digit, up to and including that. Maybe that should get oranged as well. So you can see I'm totally useless at party parity. But do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I am going to start by trying to find an easy win. Now, in theory, I'm just thinking, in theory, I could do these in order, couldn't I? Because each of these is solved as mini minis, or whatever they're called, mean minis. I mean, I must be able to solve them all without reference to anything else. But I'm still going to start by looking for something I'll find easy. Can we use the secret on this box? The secret being, of course, that a complete box of a Sudoku. Now, this is something I only share with my favourite people, but if you're watching this, of course, you're one of them. A whole box of a Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. It therefore sums to 45. Don't tell your friends. Now, 11, that's 25, 35. Right, so these add up to 10. That's the most useless sum we could possibly have got. Sorry, that's not where we start. There's actually not much by way of cage restriction, is there? I can see 2 15 cages, which obviously have to then be either 6, 9 or 7, 8 in a domino. I'm not seeing any other cages that look very restricted to me. So we're probably going to have to think about these naughty clues, these Bobbins face clues. Okay. So that's the smallest clue, this one, 4. So presumably because of the rules, that could just be a 4. So if it's 2 cells, well, how does it become 2? No, it can't be 2 cells, can it? Because you can't have a change of... We can't have this cell as one parity and this cell as the other parity, because then they will add up to an odd number. And we can't have 3 cells adding up to only 4. So, okay, so we get a given digit. That's a 4. Actually, that might be important as well, because I am remembering from doing these mean minis before, when you do mean minis, there's always... I think you always get a repeat, either there or there. I think. So that you see, oh, okay. Here's something. Let's look at this 9 clue. Now this 9 clue can't be a 9 there. That's not going to work, because then in the top row of this mean mini, we're going to have to put a 9 in a 7 cage, and even in this strange puzzle that won't work. So this is at least a 2-cell clue. Now it can't be a 3-cell clue, because although we can make 3 different numbers add up to 9 with a 4 in them, these two would have to be a 2-3 pair. And if we examine how the parity works here, it doesn't work correctly. 2 and 3 are already of different parity, so we'd already have completed the 9 clue by the time we complete this domino, if we try and make all those 3 add up to 9. So that means this is a domino that adds up to 9. And that's interesting, because doesn't that mean that the 4 has to be in the 7 cage? I think it does, because if we've just learned, and I think we have, that those 2 squares add up to 9, we can't put both of these in there. That won't work. So the only other option is we put that one in there, and the only place it can go is there. Right, so that's a 3. And now, okay, am I right that this has a diagonal repeat thing going on? Or is that just me being misremembering? Yeah, where does that 3 go in this row now? It's got to go there. Where does it now go in the bottom row? It's got to go... I'm going to get 3. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Losing its religion. What a ludicrous puzzle. Right, these 2 add up to 9, so that's done. I quite enjoyed that. That was weird. And I got a 3 in the corner. Right, let's try and find another easy win. What about maybe this 5? We'll go up in stages of small clues. So, oh, actually on this one, the first thing I can see here is that the 3 digits in this, because these digits can't repeat, there must be, the 3 digits we choose for this box must add up to 14. So, what does that mean? I am not sure. I've got to not look at this, because this is just, I almost want to black it out, don't I? Because there's no Sudoku implications for this box from this box. You know, and we're not saying this can't be a 3, 4 or a 6. I suppose we're saying, if we really think about it, that cell can't be a 3, because that 3 is going to survive the deletions. But probably, looking at the wording of the rules, we're not meant to use that. We're meant to do each of these puzzles sort of as a discrete puzzle before we think further. Now, okay, so one thing I can see here is that this 5 clue is simply a 5. Now, if it wasn't simply a 5, it would have to be a 2-cell clue. And then it could be 2, 3 or 1, 4. Those digits do have different parity, so that would work. But it wouldn't work because now this square, we know that the 3 different numbers have to sum to 14. So that would be, say, 2, 3 and 9. Now if this was 2, 3 and 9, or 1, 4 and 9, how on earth do you make this 7 clue work with only those 3 digits? You can't do it. So it must just be a single 5. And therefore we know there is a 5 in one of those squares. Well, oh no, oh sorry. Right, okay, so well, can I rely on the fact that I think there is always a complete diagonal in a 3 by 3? Can we prove that by colouring somehow? Presumably we can, can't we? He says, desperately trying to work out how we can do that. Maybe let's just come up here and see if we can generally prove that there is always a repeat along this diagonal or this diagonal in one of these thingy thingies. Thingy thingies being the technical term. So let's put that cell. Let's think about this square. And let's argue first that this square doesn't repeat on this diagonal. Well, then we could instantly fill it into those squares, couldn't we? That would be true. So if this is right, I am now expecting those 3 digits to be the same. You can see they are, because this digit, where does it go in this row? It's got to go there, and then it goes into the other corner. So we were either in a position where this digit didn't repeat on its diagonal, in which case we got the other diagonal was forced to repeat, or we could say, okay, this digit does repeat on its diagonal, so it would have to be here in this row, and then where does it go in the bottom row? It would have to go there. So I think it is true. I think that is a reasonable recollection. Now, if that's true here, look, 5 can't repeat on the positive diagonal, because it would repeat in this 14 cage. And that's not going to work. Let me just double check. There is that. Yeah, okay. So I read that digits within cages cannot repeat, and then I think I dismissed it when I was reading the instructions, because I was like, oh, but all the cages are in boxes. But of course, for the mini rules, that really doesn't matter, because for the mini rules, it does matter. It certainly matters here that these digits can't repeat. So we now know in this box those 3 digits are the same. And we know that 5 is therefore in one of those squares. So the other 2 numbers in this box add up to 9. So we're going to have to use this 7 clue, aren't we? Which means I'm going to have to think about parity thingy again. Right, so presumably that can be a 7. If that's a 7, it fulfills that clue. Then you'd have to put a 7 in the 14 cage, and then you'd put a 2 in with it, and you get 2s on the diagonal, I think. So one possibility is that's just a 7. But another possibility is going to be that these 2 cells add up to 7. Ah. But if those 2 cells add up to 7, then we would know one of them was a 5, so they would be a 2-5 pair, because in this row you've got to put a 5. But then that square would have to be a 7, because we know the 3 different digits in this box add up to 14 because of this cage. So if these 2 digits add up to 7, there's a 7 here. So there's either a 7 here or there's a 7 here, but there is definitely a 7 in this box. So, okay, so the 3 numbers are 5, a 7 and a 2. So this is 257. This is weird. It's weird. Okay, and that can't be 5, because if the green one is 5, the 5 repeats on the diagonal. And that can't be 7, because it can't be, because it can't then be part of a 2 or a 1-cell sequence. So it is 2 on the diagonal. This is bizarre. It's 2 on the diagonal. This is now a 5-7 pair. 5 in this row goes here. That's 7. That's 7. That's 7, and that's 5. How strange is that? It wasn't that hard, but I don't know. I didn't find that easy, actually. I think I'm just so useless at this constraint. Right, I'm going to try the 6th clue now. So the 6th clue could of course just be a 6, couldn't it? Ah. Oh, I was just wondering if the 6th clue could be 1, 2, 3. Now it could have been, except it can't, because then it must be possible for 2 of the digits that we put in this 3x3 to add up to 9 or 7. And if we use the digits 1, 2 and 3, no 2 of those 3 digits add up to 9 or 7. So this clue is either a 6 on its own there, or it's a domino that adds up to 6. Which would mean what then? If there's a domino that adds up to 6... Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that's weird. No, you can't have a domino that adds up to 6. Because how do you make that work? It's either 1, 5, there's no change of parity, or it's 2, 4, there's no change of parity. So you can't just sum 2 digits to 6. So it is just a 6 at the top. And now there's a 6 in the 7 cage, so that's a 6-1 cage. And now... Okay, so now you've got to put either 3... or because this 9 cage now has either got a 6 in it, which must have a 3 with it, or it's got a 1 in it, in which case it's got to have an 8 with it. Now, how do we know which of those is correct? We probably do know that somehow. Well, and that digit, do we know, can we work out where the repeated digit is in this one? So it could be down there. If it's down here, then the repeated digit is... that doesn't work, does it? Well, it doesn't work with 3 being the repeated digit. I'm not sure. I'm not sure quite how I'm meant to think about this. If that's 6 and that's 3, that's 1. No, that doesn't work. You can't put the 1s in the grid. So it is something to do. It's something to do with the repeats on the diagonal. I just can't quite see it. That digit we know is in the 9 cage, don't we? So if that's a 6, that's a 6. Yeah, you can sort of see it. I mean, that would be a 3, and then you can't put a 3 in this column. Yeah, this digit here, yeah, that's the way to look at it. It's just sort of just ordinary Sudoku, but it's sort of hard for some reason for my brain to see it. That digit obviously goes in the 7 cage, doesn't it? Because it's got to exist in this column. And it's not a 6, so that must be a 1. And therefore that's an 8, and that's a 6. And now the 1s are going to repeat down the diagonal, and we do that pattern. So that one's finished now. I was going to say boom, but it definitely didn't deserve a boom. It was fairly uselessly performed by me, that one. Right, let's keep working our way up. So we've got an 8 clue now. Now, okay, oh, well, this one I can do something. That's a 5. I can do that. Because if 3 digits in this cage, or in this mini-me, whatever it's called, add up to 15, and there are 2 digits that add up to 10, these are the 3 different digits, so there must be a 5 here, mustn't there? In order for the difference between these 2 cages to be accountable for. Now, can we go further than that? Do we know where the repeat is? I'm not certain. We probably do in some way, but it's not clear to me. Okay, let's think about the 8 clue. How does an 8 clue work? Well, okay, that I can see this time, and it's very hard and jarring with this 8 here, but that is a solitary 8. Because, how could it not be? If it's a domino, these would have the same parity, because they'd either be 2, 6, 1, 7, or 3, 5. So there's no change of parity, so we can't stop summing. By the time we reach that, we would have to add this one in as well. So it's not a domino. If it's a triomino, the three digits in this triomino adding to 8, that would clash with the ability of the 3 different digits in this box to add to 15. So we must have 8 here, and that must be 2 because we know that the digits add up to 15. And now that must be 8 in terms of thingy thing. That's now 8 by Sudoku, so that's a 2, that's a 2, and we do get 5 running up the diagonal, and that's how that one works. Okay, next lowest clue is this one, 13, I think, but this is getting into the realms of... You probably meant to start with the massive ones, but anyway, let's start with 13. There's a 13 and a 21 in this one. Neither of which can be single clues, can they? So doesn't that mean there's got to be an 8 in this box? Because it can't be 3 cells adding to 13 if those 3 cells are meant to add to 21. I mean, 21 must be a 3-cell clue. You can't make 2 different Sudoku digits add to 21. So 3 digits add to 21, 2 add up to 13, so that's got to be an 8, which is very jarring again. That means this 15 cage is 6, 9. That doesn't work, does it? That doesn't feel like that can ever be correct. I've made a mistake. How have I made a mistake there? 6, 8, and 9 add up to 23, which is not the same number as 21. Yeah, there's something wrong. there was something wrong with the logic I did there. So I was thinking those, I thought I was contrasting these two, which must add up to 13, with these three that must add up to 21. Which suggested to me that had to be an 8, but maybe that's not right. Let me think about this a bit more, because two of the digits add up to 15. I mean, we know there are 3 digits here. Okay, so maybe there's got to be a 6 in here. Because if there are 3 digits that add up to 21, and there are, but there are 2 digits that add up to 15, then the other digit that's not in this 15 must be a 6, because 2 of these do add up to 15 is what this is telling us. And the fact that the other digit is a 6 means this is actually a 7-8 pair, when that would make that a 6. And now that means these are a 7-8 pair. But we've got to be careful. We mustn't have a change of parity too early, so that can't be a 7, because the change of parity would happen immediately. So we've got to do that. And then these two squares have to add up to 13, and we can't use 5 here. So we've got to go 6, 7, 8, 8. 8 repeats along the diagonal. That's 7 and that's 6. Oh, hang on. Well, what did I do wrong then? Because I wrote 8 in there and then didn't think it could work. Oh, I know what I did. I know what I did. I'm such a numpty. Oh, my goodness. I am a numpty, but I sort of forgive myself. What I did was I said that's an 8. Therefore, this can't be a 7-8 pair. Because I'm so used to thinking about box logic. But of course, in whatever they call mean mini logic, that doesn't apply at all. I can absolutely put the 8 there, which is exactly what happened. So I had to go round the houses in order to work out why my first conclusion was correct, actually. It's just my second conclusion was wrong. No, dear. Right, okay, so let's go up to the 16 over here. So what's going on there? Well, I don't know. There's a whole congregation of cages here. 16. I mean, 16 must be 3 numbers, mustn't it? Because I was thinking about this when we looked at the example, and I was when I was reading the rules, because 16 in 2 digits is 7 and 9, both of which are odd. And that doesn't work. There's no change of parity. So it must be 3 digits adding to 16, but we know 2 of those 3 digits add up to 13. So that must be a 3. And then we know there's a 3 in the 9 cage, so that's a 3, 6 cage. Now we know there's a 6 in the 13 cage, so that's 6, that's 7. And then, how do we finish this off now? Why am I so bad at this strange puzzle? Okay, well, so now we've got to make sure that these two have the same parity, don't we? So when we're using 3, 6 and 7, so 6 is the alternate parity, and now we can see how the Sudoku must finish off. So we did I think have to use the parity constraint there to sort of fill in that part of the grid. This is a weird puzzle. Now what about this one then? Oh, I can do something with this one. There are 3 digits that add up to 18, but this is a 17 clue. So it can't be those 3, we can't be adding 3 different digits there, because we should get the same total as this. So this must only be adding 2 digits. So this must be 8, 9, and then we can add the 1 at the top, which must be how this 18 is made up. But now, do we know which order this is in? Not really, actually. Oh, but we do from the 9 cage, I see. So that's 8, that's 9, that's 1, that's 9, that's 9. And then this is 1, this is 8, and this is 8. And that one's done. Okay, right, what's going on here? I'm not going to make the same mistake with it. Well, look, that's got to be a 7. Because those 3 must add up to 22, and 2 of them add up to 15, so the other one must be a 7. Now this time it is legitimate to knock 7 out of here, because it's in the same row. So there's no way this can be a 7-8 pair. And now to make this work, we need the 2 parities that are shared, which are 7 and 9, to be the first 2. So we can go 7, 9, 6, 6, 9, 9, 7, 6 there, and that one's done. Now, how does this one get resolved then? Okay, we know the 3... Oh, I see. So we know 3 of the digits add up to 14. But 2 of those digits add up to 10, so the other digit must be a 4. And similarly, that must be a 3, because 2 of the digits add up to 11. And now you can see these 2 digits are different, so there's a repeated digit that goes along there in this land. There's a 3 and a 4 in the 14 cage, so the other digit must be 7 by mathematics, and that's going to finish this one off. Boom. There we go. That was actually easier than I was expecting it to be. Right, so now what we do is the great exercise of we highlight the middle ones in some colour and we delete everything else. Does it work if I... no, I don't think it does. I was wondering whether I could use a double clicking methodology to delete all these digits, but it doesn't seem to want to do it. So let's do it the long way. Boom. All of those digits are going to be, this is slightly worrying, but all of those get deleted, and we get here. And now we have to do the puzzle again, but treating these clues as capable of going on for further than they did before. But that 15 cage this time is definitely not 6, 9. That must be 7, 8. This is just a 7 by maths. 8. 8 can't go in the 14 cage with a 7, can it? So 8 is in one either there or there. Now my brain, for some reason, wants to look at... Oh, hang on, what's all this down here? Are these pencil marks I didn't get rid of? I think those pencil marks are not worthy. Okay, can we use the secret on this box? 2736. Yeah, not quite. Those 3 digits add up to 9, I think. Because we get 27 plus 9 is 36. We know the box adds to 45, so those have got to add up to 9. Let's try, what about... Well, how about this 8 clue? That looks tricky now with a 5 here. Yeah, we worked out that an 8 clue couldn't be a domino, didn't we? Because the parities would be shared. Now, if this was a 3-cell 8 clue, one of those digits would have to be a 1, and it can't be. So this is literally just an 8. We just write the 8 in. Okay, so that puts an 8 down here in one of these 2 squares where there is a 4 clue. Now, is it right to say that the 4 clue... Yeah, the logic we applied to the 4 clue originally was obviously we could never have built a 4-cell 4 clue. So the 4 clue must just go there. That must be an 8 then by our old friend Sudoku. Yeah, I think what we did with the 9 clue, that could just be a 9 now, because we don't have to have the same digits in this box, do we? This is definitely not a 3-4 pair. Okay, let me just try and find something else easy that we can pin our hopes on. These add up to 7, so this 6 clue... Oh yeah, I'm going to do that actually. Right, this 6 clue... If this was 3, 1, 2, which would be a legitimate Parity Party clue, you couldn't fill these 2 squares in and make them add up to only 7. If this was a 5-1 clue, that's not parity party. There's been no change of parity. So there must just be a 6 that we write in here. That does absolutely diddly, doesn't it? And does diddly squat. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try this box then. Look, that we've got effectively those two squares add up to 10, and those two squares add up to 10. But we can't use 2, 8 in either of those little dyads, and we can't use 3, 7, because 3, 7 is ruled out of this one. So these squares have got to be 1, 9, and 4, 6 in some order. And that means the other cells in this box have to be 2, 3, and 7. And that does absolutely nothing. That's incredible. Oh, bobbins. Ah, no, hang on. Look, 4 comes out of these squares. So 4 comes out of these, 6 comes out of these. That can't be a 1, so that can't be a 9. No. I don't think that does anything. Oh well, okay, that's not where we look either. What about... Might be the 22 clue, actually. That's not got... That can't avail itself of many high digits. Just let me have a... What about the 5 clue? I know the 5's fine, isn't it? Because that changes parity with a 1-4 pair. Okay, let's try the 22 clue then. What's that saying? Because these squares can't add up to 22. Because 9, 8 and 7 have gone from their availability. So they could be 6, 5, 4, which only adds up to 15. So these have all got the same parity. And... do we know whether that parity is if that parity was even, it would be 2, 4, 6, which is adding up to... that doesn't work. That's weird. Right, this is very interesting, actually. How could this be even parity? It would have to be 2, 4, 6. Now that's adding up to 12. So if we changed parity here, this would need to be a 10, and that's the same parity, and it's not a Sudoku digit, and that's a total nonsense. So this would have to be 8. We'd have to retain the parity, but now these add up to 20, and we have to change the parity here, because we've got no more even digits we can use. But we can't, because this is going to be an odd digit, and you can't make 1 odd digit and 4 even digits add up to 22. So it doesn't work. So that in fact, these have to be odd parity. We use... orange for odd because they begin with the same letter. So these are odd parity, which we now know, and we know what they are. They're 1, 3, 5 because 9 and 7 have gone. So these squares add up to... Well, these only add up to 9. So we can't change the parity here because this can't be a 13. So that is a 9 by... It's got to be odd. This is huge though, isn't it? Because that's fixed an 8 over here. That means this is a 1. Now what are we up to? Now we're up to 8. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is good. So now we're up to 18. And if we change the parity here, which we have to, we can put a 4 in, and the 22 clue will work. And that's a 3 by mathematics. And that's a 5, 6 by the fact it's got to add up to 11. And that's a 2. Wow. That's great. That's got a very... It's a very clever step if that's what's required at this point. Now they're a 2, 6 pair now. Which... Ooh, 1, 2 pair in the 7 cages column. So that's got to be a 3, 4 pair in that order very specifically. That's not a 3. Still a chance of a 3 in the corner. Well, we had a 3 in the corner ages ago, but we could have a different 3 in the corner. Oh, look, we can just do maths on this column. These add up to 19. That's 37. So that must be an 8 in order to make the secret work, because 45 must be the total for this column. These two squares have to be 2 and 7, don't they? They can't be 1, 8, 3, 6 or 4, 5. So that's a 2, 7 pair. which means these are a 5-9 pair, which we can actually resolve. So 5 and 9 go in. Ah, that's useful. This has now got to be 6 and 4, which means this has got to be 9 and 1. Maybe this cage, not sure, but that could be 1, 8. No, oh, no, that is good. It can't be 2, 7, because that would break that square. So that is 1, 8, because it can't be 2, 7, 3, 6, or 4, 5. Oh, hang on, I want to put 1, 8 in here, not blacken the cells. So that's now, oh, now 2 and 7 are a pair in those two, and that can't be 2 because that can't be 11. So that's 7, that's 2, that's, oh, I was going to say that was 7, but that's actually still got the 3 in the corner option. This is now 6. 3, 7 means that's 7, that's 2. In this row, we've not put 2 in, have we? So that's got to be 2. And we've got 4, 5, and 9 up here. Let's put that in and just see if we can get rid of 9 from this square. I'm going to get rid of the orange colouring because that's distracting me. These squares have got to... Oh, 2 in this box has to go there. This is a 4, 6 pair. That 7 does the 7 and the 8. That can't be 3 anymore. That can't be 4 anymore because of the 4, 6 pair. We can probably do some tidying up down, maybe column 5. We've not put 2 and 8 in. Yeah, this can't be 2 because that would need a 7 here. So that's got to be 8. That's 1. That's 2. This has now got to be 1, 6, and we know the order. This column has not got 2 or 9 in it. 2 and 9 can go in. So these squares are 5, 7, oh, 5, 7, 5, 7 and 9. And that's great for that square, which can't be a 7. So that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That's our second 3 in the corner for this puzzle. Now, oh look, that 6 is doing things. 2 and 6 go in there. So we've not put 3 and 5 into this column. So 3, 5, 5, 6, 6, 4 all go in. That hasn't got a 1 in it. That's got to be a 4. That looks like it's working from a Sudoku perspective, doesn't it? These squares are 5, 6, and 7, which do indeed add up to 18. So that looks good. These got to be 3 and 4. We know the order. So how's this working? That's a 12 domino in effect. It's not got 3, 9 in it. So it's 4, 8 or 5, 7. And, well, we can do that by cunning, i.e. Sudoku. There is an 8 in this cage actually, so it must be 4, 8, and that must be the order. And that does the 8 and the 1. That 4 is doing a 5 at the top of the grid there. So 5, 9, 4 go in. 1 goes here. Down at the bottom of this column we need a 6, I think. Can we do a bit better? Yeah, we can get a 6 here. This is 5, 7 or 9, so it's 5 or 9. It's still not resolved. Probably is resolved, but I'm not seeing how immediately, so I'm moving quickly on. These are 3, 5 and 7. That's not 3. Oh, I know one thing I haven't thought about. I haven't thought about these parity clues for a long time. I was suddenly thinking, are we going to get totally stuck here? But I'm sure we're not, because we could... Oh, hang on, that's my daughter calling. 1 second. We might be in for a visitor. Oh, here we go. Look, how does this 5 clue work? It can't be 4, 1 anymore because 4 isn't available. So it must be 5, and that's probably going to do a lot of work. 7, 5, 9. This is a 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. So we got 3 3s in the corner. Is that right? Yes. That's brilliant. That's a quite brilliant puzzle. I'm not surprised people are loving that. I'm about to get absolutely inundated with little children, so I think I better move swiftly on. Loved the puzzle, Analytical Ninja. It made me feel like a right plonker several times, especially around this box, but never mind. All right, we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.